Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we back with another episode. You already know what it is. But yeah, for the two playing teams that are eliminated and your season is over, Warriors and Hawks, let's have a quick moment of silence for you guys. Now that that's over, let's get right into it. So for the two playing games that actually mattered, the Lakers and Pelicans, I obviously picked the Lakers, and for the Sixers and Heat, I picked the Sixers. Um, it was an interesting playing. Now that Pelicans Lakers game, which came on Tuesday, that game was going on, and it was like a quick back and forth. Like the Pelicans built the lead, then the Lakers cut it down, then the Lakers built a little lead, then the Pelicans came back until like down to the wire, in which the Pelicans just didn't have any offense being generated because everything was going through Zion, and he had like a 40-point double double, and nobody else on the Pelicans, CJ McCollum, I'm looking at you, did anything. So they ended up losing. But it sets up a very interesting matchup with the Kings because Zion, he did walk out of the locker room like after the end of the game, but he never came back when he went in the locker room when he exited the game. So I don't know if he's going to play on Friday, but if he does, kudos to him. Now, I got the Kings smoking them if they don't have Zion, but if he does play, it's kind of an interesting matchup because he did have 3 days of rest, but they also lost all momentum because they did lose to the Lakers and they could have won if somebody else had stepped up for them. But the Kings are riding the high of eliminating the Warriors, something they couldn't do in last year's playoffs when they were the 3 seed and the Warriors were the 6 seed. So salute to them. But I did want to make one quick point regarding the Warriors. Klay Thompson, you are washed, bro. Like, yo, 0 for 10, bro. Like, come on, dog. And then he always wanna flex them 4 fingers. Like, yeah, I got 4 rings, bro. Like, dog, we do not care, bro. Tell that to the next team that you want to be your employer. Like, see if those rings matter then. But nah, um, Kings, salute to them. They eliminated the Warriors, but that Pelicans Kings matchup on Friday, I don't know. It's a toss up. It all depends on the health of Zion. Now transitioning over to the Eastern Conference, Sixers. I gotta give y'all a round of applause real quick. Thank you. Thank you for exposing the frauds that are the Miami Heat. Now, I know a lot of people are gonna say that Joel Embiid, he's not gonna get this playoff whistle when a real series pops off, but if they're giving that to him in the play-in, bro, you might want to watch out for what happens in the actual series, especially against the Knicks. Now, the Knicks are a very physical team, but a player like Embiid, like he's for sure going to be complaining about calls, and they might actually mess around and give it to him because he got that superstar whistle. But back to the play-in topic real quick. They knocked off the Heat. That game was terrible in the first half. Like everybody was bricking. And then in the third quarter, and obviously fourth with an Embiid takeover. Well, not just an Embiid takeover, a Nick Batum takeover that third quarter. And heading into the fourth quarter, they was like they was like Shaq and Kobe out there. Like they was not playing with them. But yeah, they took care of business and got the job done. But that game was interesting as well because the Heat had built a little lead, and then the Sixers had came back, tied it up, and then they ended up taking a lead like a few minutes left. So that was something interesting to see. But another thing, Jimmy Butler in the third quarter, he ended up getting injured, played the rest of the game, but ended up injuring his MCL. So reports as of today, he's going to be out a couple of weeks. So that's really a big blow for the Miami Heat, who have to now go ahead and play another playing game in a do-or-die situation against the Chicago Bulls, who, by the way, they was doing whatever they wanted with the Hawks. Now, obviously, the Hawks are not a great defensive team, but that still doesn't excuse the fact that, like, yo, they were firing on all cylinders. Like, Vooch was cooking. Kobe White was cooking. He had 42 points, the second most in playing history. And even DeMar DeRozan was cooking. Like, he almost had a near triple-double. I think he had, like, 22, like, 8 and 9 assists or something like that. But, yeah, he was cooking as well. And the Heat, if they get that iteration of the Bulls on Friday, they're getting run off the court. Salute to Bam, solid player, but his offensive production is not going to be able to hold up. Now, granted, he is a great defensive player, but if he's so focused on keying in and preventing them from scoring, like, who really is going to do the scoring? Because Tyler Hero, he was a brick, not even just from three, but from like anywhere else on the court, like smoking layups, mid-range, free throw, like the whole nine. So I don't know, but it's going to be interesting to see what they do. It might be one of those, it's just we don't have enough offensive firepower to, sustain keeping up with a team like the Bulls, who, granted, they did lose a big piece as well in Alex Caruso. So that kind of, I'm not going to say evens the playing field, because they still have guys who can score, but they're not at 100% either. So it just makes everything come full circle. Like, these playing teams, the Lakers were the only team to really escape, and Sixers, without any major injuries, because the Pelicans, their star player went down. Granted, he might not be injured as severely as Jimmy and Caruso, but he's still injured nonetheless. So you never want to see injuries come playoff time, because that makes everything, I'm not going to say it ruins the game, but injuries are part of the game. You just got to embrace them. But when a player does go down, it just kind of sucks some of the fun out of the series. But enough talking of playing. Let's get right into these matchups, which is what y'all been waiting for. Obviously, Lakers, they with the Nuggets. I'm not going to spend too much time on that series. That's going 5. Obviously, last year, Nuggets swept them, Western Conference Finals, where all the games were kind of close. I think the point differential for every game was like a combined 10 points or something like that. So it's not like the Lakers were getting run off the floor every game, but they didn't manage to snag a game. So it was just like, dang. But I got Nuggets in 5. Jokic, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., they got them boys' number. Sorry, LeBron. Sorry, AD, who, by the way, he didn't have a terrible game on Tuesday, but he didn't take over the game as many thought he would. So that was a little bit interesting. But he still contributed a lot. He had a double-double. It was just like you figured he would score a little bit more. But, yeah, that's that series. And for the 2-7 on the Eastern Conference side, Knicks and Sixers. Surprisingly, I got the Sixers in 6. Now, I would not be mad if the Knicks won, because obviously they're the higher seed. They have the better team considered. So I'm not going to be mad if they won, but I just got the Sixers in 6. Just because Joel, he seemed like he's on a mission. Now, granted, he does still do that flopping stuff where, like, he just fishing for a call, but he's still one of the most skilled big men the game has ever seen. Eventually, he's going to get over that hump, and I feel like this year could be the year that he finally does it. And what better way to go out in the first round than to, deal with a physical team in the New York Knicks, who they also are dealing with some injuries of their own, and they're not really, I'm not to say lost without it, but they're also not gonna, you know, take it sitting down lightly. So yeah, I got Sixers and 6. Jalen Brunson, he obviously gonna get his, but that's just where I stand on that series. Now, Clippers versus Mavericks Part 3. Luka versus Kawhi. Well, actually, maybe Luka just versus the Clippers because Kawhi might not actually be playing due to some knee inflammation. But I got Mavericks in 6 if Kawhi doesn't play more than 3 games. But if he does, I got Mavericks in 7. This year, Luka finally has some semblance of a team. He got Kyrie, who's healthy. And then the deadline acquisitions of Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington seem to have made a nice little rotation and starting 5 for the Mavericks. Now, granted, Jason Kidd is still the coach, and some of his rotations and playoff blunders kind of just stick out like a sore thumb. But I still think that the Mavericks can take the Clippers down and Luka can finally get his redemption. And for the 4 and, well, not the 4 and 5, the 3 and 6, since I didn't go over this in last episode, Pacers and Bucks. Now, Giannis is probably going to be out game 1, so I'm not going to sit here and say that the Pacers are just going to smoke the Bucks, but depending on what Giannis looks like when he does come back in the series, that's if he comes back. Now, let's say the Bucks are like down 2-0, which I don't think they will be. I think going back to Indianapolis, I think they would still have like a 1-1 type of series, and then Giannis comes back game 3. But let's say they're down 2-0. I don't know if you actually want to bring Giannis back because that could just, aggravate the injury even more. So I don't know, but that series is tricky because it all depends on what Giannis is gonna do. Because Dame, him and Giannis still seem they can't coexist like we watched this whole season. Dame plays way better when he doesn't have Giannis there, and he just stinks up the joint, or he just plays very inefficiently when both of them are on the floor together. So I'm not gonna say the Pacers win, but if they end up, just hitting a boatload of threes, the Bucks can't keep up. So I'm gonna take Pacers in 6, but it could go 7 depending on the health of Giannis. But I'd still lean Pacers. But even in that same breath, it's like experience is everything. And now, granted, Giannis hasn't played with Dame in the postseason, so it's a whole new ball game. But everybody else on the roster has pretty much been there together. Chris Middleton's been there, Bobby Portis has been there, Brook Lopez has been there, Malik Beasley has been there. It's just the coaching and the failure to actually incorporate Dame into the offense fluently kind of has me skeptical of them pulling this series off. But yeah, that's all I got for y'all today. Obviously, I will go into the Thunder and Celtics matchups against the AC, but we don't know who those teams will be yet. But as soon as those guys finish up those playing games tomorrow, then next week's episode, I will have those matchups for you as they will already probably have started playing in those series. But yeah, as always, take a chance, take a gamble. But as long as you roll the dice, we all good. I'm out.